already know that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them.
Look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, you know, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference.
Too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like not taking nothing from Canelo.
Teddy Atlas has weighed in on the highly anticipated Canelo versus Crawford showdown, calling it the biggest fight of the year. He believes Terence Crawford has the tools to win regardless of the weight difference, praising his skill set, discipline, and adaptability. Atlas argues that Canelo Álvarez is no longer the fighter he once was, suggesting that the Mexican star has lost the hunger and fire that fueled his greatness. He points to recent performances as evidence of decline and even labels Canelo overrated compared to Crawford. In Atlas's view, Crawford's sharpness and relentless drive make him the clear favorite.
That the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right. If you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you could make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you could make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument he was too young in his career. Maybe, although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16.
Mean Machine, who has shared the ring with Terence Crawford, believes size won't decide the outcome of Crawford's fight with Canelo Álvarez. He argues that Crawford's superior skill set and exceptional ring intelligence make him too smart for Canelo. According to him, weight and natural size can't bridge the gap in IQ, adaptability, and timing that Crawford consistently displays. He calls Crawford one of the most calculated fighters of his era, capable of adjusting mid-fight and breaking down opponents regardless of their physical advantages. Mean highlights Crawford's ability to control pace, distance, and rhythm, factors that often outweigh sheer size. In his view, this matchup favors the fighter with sharper tools, and that fighter is clearly Terence Crawford.
No, it's not good for Crawford. Canelo's too big. Right now, my position changed. I think Crawford is too fast and too smart for Canelo. Even Canelo is a good boxer. I'm not saying like nothing from not taking nothing from Canelo, but the way like when you see like, oh, he's too big, when you see Usyk fights and what Usyk did to the big guys like Joshua and Fury, so the size and that doesn't matter. I think the skill level matters. And Crawford, he gained weight, but I think he's gonna be like even faster, and like his head was good in the ring. He's like boxing IQ is just on top. So I would say 50-50, but right now I'm kind of leaning more to Crawford.
And that's just because of what you saw Usyk do?
It's not like I'm just giving an example, like size doesn't matter in the boxing. When they say like, oh, like Canelo is big and he's fighting like 175, 168, and Crawford just moving from like 147, 154. So I'm just putting an example that size doesn't matter, and like that the fighter makes the fight. I think it's just like that I see that Crawford's training and that he's big too right now. So he gained weight, but not like, and lots of people gain weight like that sloppy weight, like I would say like fat, but he gained like, he looked like strong, massively strong. So I think it's gonna be a good one.
How did Terence feel physically when you faced him? Like, how is his strength? Because yeah, a lot of people do make the point that Canelo's just maybe too big, too powerful for Crawford.
Um, Crawford, I wouldn't say like his punches was like super strong, but his timing and accuracy is the what makes difference.
Mean Machine draws an interesting parallel between the upcoming Terence Crawford vs. Canelo Álvarez showdown and Canelo's 2013 fight with Floyd Mayweather. Back then, a young and less experienced Canelo was outclassed by Mayweather's superior speed, defense, and ring generalship. Mean Machine believes Crawford can employ a similar blueprint, using movement, precision, and smart counterpunching to neutralize Canelo's strengths. However, he points out one major difference: today's Canelo is far more seasoned. Over the years, he has battled elite opponents, learned to adapt, and developed a level of patience that was missing during the Mayweather fight.
Throw hard, but they just throw, and he throws like his calculation for the punches and like timing and aiming to the right spots is just like on another level.
Do you think that's going to be the thing that complicates the fight the most for Canelo?
I think so, yeah. And like, yeah, we can go back a little bit to Mayweather Canelo, and Canelo, yeah, Canelo was young and like Mayweather smart, but it can be like familiar fight like that. Even Canelo right now have more experience, and Crawford is still on his prime. So yeah, we will see.
From just your experience, you knowing boxing, like how do you think the fight will play out? Do you think it'll be a slow fight? Do you think it'll be tactical? Like, do you think Crawford?
I think it's gonna start a little bit slowly. They're gonna be careful with each other just to kind of like measure each other and see where they at. And like they're like that's why like they're like champs and they're like great ones. They just don't go like crazy like from the first round.
Regis Prograis offers a different perspective, dismissing the idea that Crawford's punches will trouble a naturally bigger, granite-chinned fighter like Canelo Álvarez. He points out that Canelo has taken shots from some of boxing's hardest hitters, men naturally larger than Crawford, and has remained virtually unshakable. Still, Prograis doesn't completely rule Crawford out. While he doubts Crawford's power will make a significant impact, he acknowledges the Nebraska star's ability to win through skill, strategy, and determination. In his view, Crawford's world-class technique, versatility in switching stances, and flawless game planning make him a serious threat even against someone as formidable as Canelo.
I think that Crawford has the ability to outbox Canelo. You gotta look at, and then Canelo's older. Crawford has the ability, but he's small, and he can look bigger in. Crawford could look bigger in the weigh-ins and all that stuff, but it's always a difference. When you get that fight with somebody, you can tell. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel fought him, the twin. He fought Crawford, and in all the stuff, the weigh-ins and the press conference, Jamel looked like the bigger man. His head, his neck, everything looked bigger. But when they got in the fight, you can tell. You can see who really was the bigger man. And I think that's the same thing. Crawford is putting on weight, but it's not weight. Like Canelo had the weight already. He doesn't have to put on muscle. He doesn't have to do that. He's already big like that. But I think that Crawford does have the style. He does have the style to beat him. If you look at the people that beat him or gave him troubles, Irislan, De Lara, Austin Trout, Floyd, and Bivol, they gave him trouble and stuff like that. And Skull moved around a little bit too. So I think that Crawford has that. But I don't know how Crawford is gonna respond when he gets hit. Same thing with Jamel. Jamel was undisputed at 154, and Canelo hit him and shit. Jamel was like, hell no. Jamel took a knee. So it's a big difference. And Crawford had that one fight at 154, and he didn't. Madrimov would touch him up a little bit. And this is nowhere close to Madrimov. You talk about Canelo. Now, if it was just another bigger guy, I would go with Crawford. But you talk about great. This might be. I mean, people might kill me for it, but well, not really. But this might be the best Mexican fighter ever. One of them, at least, right?
Jose Vargas Jr., who has sparred with Terence Crawford, shares Prograis' skepticism. Vargas openly doubts that Crawford can hurt Canelo, having personally felt his punches in sparring. He acknowledges Crawford's sharpness and precision but doesn't see him as heavy-handed enough to seriously trouble someone with Canelo's size and durability. Vargas notes that Álvarez has taken the power of much bigger fighters and endured it, raising doubts about Crawford's ability to pose the same threat. Still, Vargas concedes that power isn't everything. Timing, accuracy, and consistency can wear down even the toughest opponents. However, in his view, Crawford's punches may lack the force needed to stop Canelo from applying relentless pressure throughout the fight.
going to be done in camp?
You know, all we're doing is putting the final touches. I mean, I've been sparring Ron Ellis. I mean, this guy is a dog, bro. He's been getting me ready. I mean, he's been Canelo's sparring partner. Shout out to my guy Ron, man. He comes, tries to knock me out every single sparring. This guy fights at 68, big dude, goes southpaw, and hits hard. So I know he fought Benavidez. So you know, he's a veteran and he's doing veteran tactics in there where he's not letting me rest in the clinch. He's making me work every second of every round. And I got something for Callum. I got something for the whole boxing world. And you know, I feel you're just as good as your preparation. And we've been doing the road work. We've been doing the mountain work. I've been recovering hard. I've been getting my rest. You know, I haven't been drinking no dark sodas, bro. I'm feeling like Tyson Fury right now, bro. Like
Mickey Bay takes a bold position, accusing Canelo Álvarez of cherry-picking by agreeing to fight Terence Crawford. He argues that Canelo has a history of carefully choosing opponents, often waiting for ideal conditions like timing or size advantages. In Bay's view, this fight fits that pattern because Crawford is naturally the smaller man moving up in weight, which gives Canelo a physical edge. This perception has sparked backlash among fans and analysts who question whether the matchup is truly fair. Still, Bay admits that Crawford's skill, ring IQ, and adaptability make him a dangerous opponent who should never be underestimated, even against a bigger man like Canelo.
That size comparison type of a thing to make it seem like it's not a type of cherry pick that he has to go up into this battle.
So he a lot bigger. See, people looking at height. Height don't got nothing to do with weight and where you've been fighting at. Like, Terrence put his weight on, so it's a difference. No, Canelo's a lot bigger, like, hands down. Like, just mass, as far as mass. He naturally that thick. You know, he got to come down. Terrence, just because your weight is up there, that don't mean that's like putting a dude, Benavidez, as a heavyweight. He might walk around at 205 or whatever. That don't mean he a heavyweight though. So Canelo is by far the bigger man. We didn't seen him hit dudes 6'3", 6'2" in the arm and hurt him. Like, he didn't hurt Kovalev, light heavyweight. So I mean, didn't he have a light heavyweight title?
Well, when he fought Kovalev?
Just period at light heavyweight. Didn't Canelo win the light? Did he?
Nah, he just Kovalev. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, he might only fought there a couple times, but the fact that he fought up there though, and he fought way up at light heavyweight, but he been at super middleweight for a minute, so he the bigger guy for sure. So really, he got to hurt Crawford, or he got to get his major respect. He got to get his major respect to make Crawford feel like he got to survive. If he can't do that, then he probably ain't gonna win.
Do you feel like you was talking about Crawford? He needs to poke his way out of this fight, right? We've seen that, you know, Crawford's been lined up by lots of fighters. Not Errol Spence, of course, but other fighters that was able to line up with shots that don't necessarily hit like a Canelo. Now, Canelo gonna line you up regardless, right?
Tom Loeffler takes a different angle, focusing on the spectacle rather than the fairness of Canelo versus Crawford. From a promoter's perspective, he views this as one of the most marketable fights in modern boxing. Loeffler highlights that both Canelo Álvarez and Terence Crawford are global superstars with massive fan bases that cross cultures, nations, and demographics. He explains that a matchup of this magnitude goes beyond the sport itself, attracting mainstream attention and pulling in casual viewers who might not normally watch boxing.